All right. So this video is all about how the auditor will use or what he will consider in relation to SA 402, that is a service organization. So the name of the essay is quite strange. It's called Audit Considerations Relating to an Entity which Uses Service Organization. Now, we have to be very clear about the parties here. We are auditing a client. So we are the auditor of this client. And our client is a client of a service organization, which is made clear very nicely that there is some service organization. We could think of Razorpay providing payroll services. Okay. Razorpay is providing payroll services to my client. So my client is a user of these services. And now it is called user entity. And I am auditing my client. And this client that I have is now the user entity, and I am the auditor of the user entity. So I'm user auditor. Similarly, you have the service organization, that is Razorpay. The Razorpay must have its own auditor. That auditor would be called service auditor. Very simple ideas, that there is a service organization, their auditor is service auditor, and I am the user auditor because my client is the user, and therefore all this makes sense. Now, me as a user auditor, I am auditing my client. What am I concerned about? I am concerned about the financial statements and the internal controls in relation to the financial reporting process. That is my whole concern. That's what we have been doing in 315 and 330 standards. Okay, so my primary concern is about whether the service organization, that is the Razorpay providing the services, has any impact on the financial statement process, and whether the service organization's internal controls have any impact on my internal control systems or my financial reporting process. This is the whole concern. This is the crux. And the auditor will need to consider a few things whenever there is a service organization. Since the globe is shrinking and there is a lot of outsourcing work done, so every service organization here would be just a outsourced function. Well, there can be many outsourced function in an organization, similar to how there would be many other laws applicable in SA 250. But we have to focus on only those outsourced functions which have a bearing on the financial statement. So first and foremost, we need to identify what are the factors by which we will understand that, okay, this is the service organization that I'm focusing on. So the first type of question or the first type of preliminary assessment that the auditor has to do is to understand what kind of entities, information systems are relevant and are used in relation with the service organization for the purpose of audit. So first is a class of transaction. Since we are using Razorpay and payroll, so let's consider a class of transaction, payroll. Whether the payroll services which are provided by the service organization significant for the financial statements? That is the first question. The second is my class of transactions, they go through a certain process. That is, they are initiated, recorded, processed, and if they are wrong, they are corrected. And then they are posted to the general ledger. And once they are posted to general ledger, they are reported in the financial statements. And therefore, these class of transaction and the procedure behind it is quite pertinent for the auditor to understand in general understanding of information systems. And therefore, if there is any procedure, manual controls, information system that is provided by the service organization, I need to obtain understanding of that. Then, if the service organization impacts any of the accounting records or its supporting documents, information, or any special accounts which are presented in the financial statement, then I also need to be aware of that. These are the type of things that you would do preliminary to understand whether a service organization is important for the purpose of audit or not. Another thing which the user auditor would do is to understand how the information system of the entity which is provided by the service organization captures events and conditions which are relevant for the financial statement. Now, what are these events and conditions? See, events can also be class of transaction, but they can be otherwise as well. Say, for example, a class of transaction is payroll. But what is a event other than class of transaction? it's called a subsequent event. Let's say whether my financial statement information systems, what is in a broader scheme the part of a financial reporting process, is able to capture such events such as subsequent events, whether if there is a bankruptcy of one of my clients, whether they can capture such information as well, and if so, whether these are provided by service organization. If yes, then I have to obtain understanding of that as well. And if the services provided by the service organization are itself inherent to the financial reporting process, such as preparation of financial statement, estimation of accounting estimates, or just forming accounting estimates, or even giving disclosures in the financial statements, these are also important parts of a financial reporting process. Further, whether there are any controls surrounding journal entries which are provided by service organization, and whether controls in relation to non-standard journal entries. Now, since we are very much used to just auditing clients using Tally or Zoho, we are not aware of special journal entries. These are JVs which are passed through special permissions by some higher authority. Let's say the CEO can only alter these entries or post these entries. These are non-standard entries which are meant for adjustment purposes, last minute adjustments that we all do. So these are a few things that a service organization, if there is a service organization at your client, you need to consider these few things before taking ahead all of the requirements. So first you need to determine whether it is relevant to the audit or not. Now, once you determine it is relevant, then you proceed with understanding the nature and significance. This is the primary objective of the standard, that you have to, as an auditor, understand the nature and the significance.